The W Factor Wrestling Podcast. My name is William, and I'm joined, as always, by my comrade, sort of prancing through the wrestling week. Luke, how are you, Luke?
I'm good, so if
Good.
you haven't seen me today.
I know. So, we are going to jump straight into the week of wrestling, starting with the pay-per-view that the world of wrestling fans had 7 days to prepare for, Payback. Now, those of you who are joining us on Twitch just now, you can see the visuals will be there on your screen, and YouTube for any viewers in the future. However, anyone who's just using the podcast for audio purposes only, we will probably break down the images on the screen if they do so deserve it. But as it stands just now, WWE Payback, we've got the logo there on the screen, and we'll just dive straight into it. Payback started off with a daft kick-off show, and then straight into the main card we had Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the Universal, for the United States Championship. Now, Luke and I have become quite sick of this storyline.
Well, we're sick of a lot of storylines.
Sick of a lot. Honestly, I think if we were to write a WWE pay-per-view, it would maybe be 3 matches long, and it would have a lot of different wrestlers on it compared to the ones that we're getting just now. So, the United States Championship match, we discussed it a while ago, and I said that I was looking forward to the SummerSlam match with MVP and Apollo Crews. Boy, was I disappointed.
Yeah.
And then United States Championship match, they have Apollo Crews lose. Apparently he suffered an injury to his shoulder as well after the match, and Bobby Lashley is now the United States Champion.
So many people
I
having injuries now.
know there's a lot of unsafe work going on there. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, from a fan's perspective, I just don't know what they're doing anymore. It seems as if they were building up this feud between Apollo Crews and the Hurt Business that went nowhere.
Yeah.
That is going nowhere. That, they don't have. There was talk about a year ago that Stephanie McMahon released in an interview that the storylines are written at least a year in advance.
That's what I heard as well. 6 months to a year in advance, and so then if someone has an injury or something, they can easily fix it.
Yeah,
and
6 months to a year. Where was this story going? The story's been going on for 6 months already. Where else can it go?
And it's also people accidentally get pushed and all that, and all
Yeah.
Who's a good example? Kofi Kingston kind of got accidentally pushed into.
That was that was an accidental push that worked out really well.
Yeah,
It's
and then that shifts and changes a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
But you expect a lot more of a cohesive, understanding of what you're doing. But it's like that whole, okay, it's in the moment. Yeah, COVID happened, but you simply don't need to
Do you think they've got all these different writers backstage where there's one guy that has to deal with a worldwide disaster, and his timeline is how it works out, and Vince after lockdown kicked in, Vince was like, what have you got, Josh? And there's this one guy sat in the corner that's got an entire booklet developed of a global phenomenon happening, and he's just like, this is my time to shine. We're going to have this, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. I don't know how 6 months to a year they could have anticipated a lockdown. Obviously they couldn't have done that. There was a lot of wrestlers that decided they weren't going to show up to work for safety reasons, and fair enough to them, that's what they do.
That can't throw you off so badly. The people that they're firing are people that didn't even matter to the stories they were making anyway. I don't want to say that the wrestlers don't matter, it's the writers that are making them redundant.
The people that were fired,
AOP and all that,
weren't in storylines at that point, but I would have kept them around more than other people that they kept around. So, for example, Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, I would have kept them around.
And now what, they went to Impact and they're doing stuff there now?
They went to Impact and they're doing a lot of good stuff there. They've done something called Shop and Talk Mania, which I've not seen yet. However, I have heard that it is really funny. Like, it's supposed to be funny. It's not a wrestling pay-per-view. It's like these people's individual personalities, and that's supposed to be really good. So I will be checking that out. But yes,
that is probably a lot of creativity given to them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Lashley or Cruz has creativity and control given to them in their story?
I really don't know. I don't know who has control or creativity over this storyline, and I don't think that person cares.
When they went to Raw Underground, they probably had creativity with the whole business is booming and all that. Like, MVP would be having creative control, but like, they obviously it's not translating onto the main show.
No, they're having a bit of a hard time getting their idea across, whatever that idea may be. If I was to choose a storyline to go for, I would choose the Hurt Business going into Raw Underground. They didn't have the belts, they lost the belts at that point, so give them something else to do, and then give Apollo Crews a different opponent. But I mean, last episode we spoke about on Monday Night Raw, they had an arm wrestling match.
Oh yeah, with Mark Henry.
With Mark Henry as your special guest
that's
referee.
like a gimmick joke thing.
Yeah, that was literally a time filler.
Yeah, instead of like getting new unknown talent.
Yeah, instead of having a squash match between a big guy and a jobber, where that jobber gets TV time on WWE, something like that, or give an opportunity to someone that's way down the card that everybody's forgotten about. No, they're going to put on an arm wrestling match that
nobody cares
about. Especially when they were going to have a match
on a pay-per-view
less than a week later. Okay, so Apollo Crews loses. Bobby Lashley picks up the belt. We see Bobby Lashley later on with the Hurt Business with them, and they walk out of the arena. They're all in their suits. They all look quite good. They all look like smart businessmen. Like, just cool to see, especially when one of them's got a belt over their shoulder, and then they walk out of the arena without using the sanitizer pumps, and people on social media picked up on that, and they got not abuse, but quite a few comments and memes and stuff made about them. But we move on to the next match on the card. Well, not the card, but the next match that I want to talk about, because there really wasn't anything else. So there's Bobby Lashley and your new United States champion. Woohoo!
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. So next we have our favourite Big E taking on Sheamus. Our face of the company, Big E, taking on Sheamus. Big E wins.
Yeah.
He dominates. Sheamus done well. So like Sheamus always does well. That's why he's been in the company for that length of time. Big E dominates. Looks good. Good moves. Good move set.
I think
selling personality.
They thought about Big E because like after what happened, and they're like, let's give this guy some singles competitive time.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. His you don't really feel like he's trying to stay attached to the New Day, because I don't know, his colours on his costume fit him.
Yeah.
His personality and all that, and I still really like it. But
he's definitely sat quite well as a single competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Kofi's injury, which I don't think Kofi is really injured. I think they did tell him to take some time off and give Big E this opportunity, because they couldn't have Big E doing a singles run if Kofi was still
ringside.
If Kofi was still on the show, whether it was backstage or not, everybody would be like, "Oh, why is Kofi not competing?" They kind of have to give him something, and I think injury is probably the only thing you can do at that stage. But I'm glad they did it. Big E, awesome to watch. We had him rallying the troops on SmackDown, going up against Retribution.
He's not gonna go heel anytime soon.
We're
Big
not.
Evil ideas.
We're not going to get Big Evil this year.
I'm still really happy that he's the Big E right now.
Yeah, especially when who did he face? He faced the Miz. He made the Miz tap out.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something a face would do unless it was a really... Like John Cena has made people tap out when he's been face, but John Cena has, like, putting people into submission. That's been, like, his last resort. His last resort has been, like, I'm not going to pin you anymore, I'm going to do something that will make you want to quit the match. Whether on... Doesn't matter who he's facing.
It's just like a cool last resort move that he does if all else fails.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah.
And, like, of course in Big E's first proper, like, singles match, he's gonna do it makes sense for him to do a submission.
I agree.
Because, like, he's just coming back to it. He needs to do the most he can, because
Mm-hmm.
turning him into a big monster straight away doesn't really work.
No, definitely not.
He needs that build up.
Because he's got the power of he still comes out to New Day music. He still comes out to the whole power of positivity thing. That can't change just now. But I wouldn't be against maybe next year. You have, not even next year, because Kofi must be due back from injury soon. So Kofi comes back, and then Big E starts to get booked in tag matches, and then backstage Big E's like, listen, tag matches are good, but I was doing quite well on my own. And Kofi will be like, oh yeah, but I'm back now. So we'll do the New Day thing. Oh look, there's Xavier Woods. Don't know where he's been, but he's back. Oh,
Big E walks into the sunset.
Yeah,
Big E's
just like, do you know what, guys? We had a good run.
Yeah.
Or in the middle of match, like Seth Rollins, he turns on them.
No,
Xavier Woods has got his trumpet and...
A turn wouldn't... him turning into a heel wouldn't work so well right now.
I suppose not.
I would like... You know Evil from New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Yes.
You know his story where, like, he was friends with... I forgot his name, but he's one of the, like, best wrestlers right now.
He was friends with...
I know he was a guy that, like, won a championship.
Takahashi or something like
and
that.
everyone hated him, so when he came back, he embraced the fact that everyone hated him, sparking, like, belts and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was friends with him, and then when he elevated, Evil just kind of stayed where he was.
Yeah.
And then they made this storyline where Evil was destroying everyone and done the Bullet Club thing when they were going to do their...
Evil is really interesting to watch,
like
yeah.
Evil. So, like, it would be nice to see their version of Evil with Big E,
yes.
Big Evil, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I think that would work very well.
I think Big Evil would be amazing.
If they do it right now, it would feel so, like, I don't know.
I think there needs to be a really slow build up to Big Evil.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something you can do, the next night, after a paper, or well, not even the next night because he's SmackDown, so it'd be the SmackDown after a big pay-per-view or something, a big loss. It needs to be a slow build up. I would really like to see there be like a character change where Big E's like depressed, or he's starting to show jealousy, or he feels like he's been held back or something.
Or when Kofi and Xavier come back, he doesn't like the idea of that. So like they're ringside and he feels as if they're getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So like at some point he snaps and he's like, "No, you guys are the issue," and turns onto them, and then does that thing that you're talking about where they're all happy.
Yeah.
And then he attacks, but like it can't be random.
No, it needs to be
have purpose.
I think one of the stepping stones to Big E attacking them would be in the middle of a tag match. Big E's on the apron, puts his hand out, and Kofi, who's let's just say Kofi's getting absolutely destroyed by whoever they're facing. Xavier Woods is out of action, or he's ringside with the trumpet, not able to do anything. Big E stretches his arm out for Kofi to get the tag, and then at the last second he just pulls it away, turns his back and walks up the ramp, and Kofi just continues to get beaten down. I think that'd be really good.
Or like Big E's like Kofi's like taking too much time, or what he thinks is too much time in ring, and he forces a tag.
Yeah, slaps him in the back or something, and Kofi's like, what?
Forces himself to play.
That'd be good.
Something like that. I like Big E. I don't know why. Ever since I saw him, I knew he was the one.
Do you know that? We knew that he was going to be
something special.
Something special. He's got a spark in him that no one else really has. So as much as we love Big E, we do have to get through the pay-per-view. So next up we have the Women's Tag Team Championship match with Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, who's just a slapdash tag team thrown together for one reason or another. Then we get your champions Bayley and Sasha Banks. Bayley also holding the SmackDown Women's Champion, but Sasha Banks no longer holding the Raw Tag Team, the Raw Championship.
That did not last long at all.
Not at all. I literally don't have anything to say about this match apart from Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler win. It was one of these matches where the little 10-second button that you use on the network, I just pressed it. Nothing was happening, pressed it, nothing was happening, pressed it, nothing was happening, pressed it. Winners. And I was like, oh, cool, right. Next match. Next, we move on to Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. This has been a good debut, like, week. Not just debut, obviously, because he debuted on Raw, but this has been a good debut week for Keith Lee.
I mean, match?
This match was good. The match against Randy Orton on Raw when he debuted was good. His debut itself, obviously, a lot of people were kind of like, music's changed, costumes changed, and as one of our listeners last week mentioned, they've also changed the way that he's speaking. And I noticed that watching the pay-per-view. We have a backstage segment, and I was listening to it thinking, strange. He has a backstage segment with JBL where JBL says that he can join a club if he wins the match. The down payment to join this club is $1 million. And Keith Lee's like, thanks, but I just don't have that kind of money. Then JBL was like, well, if you beat Randy Orton, you can build up a popularity, and well, let's just say that $1 million down payment may not be as far away as you think. And then Keith Lee's just like, okay, but then JBL says that if he loses the match, bad things will happen. What the fuck, JBL, man? Leave the guy alone. The guy's been on Raw. The guy's been on the main roster 5 minutes, and you're already telling him if he doesn't win his match, he's dead. If
you acknowledge his NXT kind of run, like, it would make a bit more sense, I guess. But the fact that they've completely changed his character to something else makes no sense. I don't know. I never personally followed Keith Lee that much. Like, obviously you did, because you really liked the whole Karrion Kross winning and all that.
Yeah.
You liked.
I will watch NXT when there's someone or something happening that I really enjoy. Which is why, in our past episodes when we've discussed NXT, it's been really brief because there's not been a lot going on.
Yeah.
And with Karrion Kross out of the picture, with Keith Lee in the main roster, they had this really cool Fatal 4-Way that we'll talk about later on in the show, but there's not a lot apart from that now. Jumping into the chat box, we have Congosaurus who's joining us again. Thanks, man. Didn't like that so much for being a larger-than-life superstar makes him come across as not being one. I know we know there aren't all multimillionaires but should be portraying themselves as megastars. Yeah, JBL's really weird. He put up a video on social media that was like 3 minutes long telling people which stocks to invest their money in. Now JBL is like a big financial head. He did release a book many years ago telling people how to invest their money and stuff like that, and I haven't read it, but I know somebody that's read it, or most of it, and it's not for everybody. It's not a wrestling book. It's not a Mick Foley book or a Shawn Michaels book, or like or the Jericho books that I've got. It is almost as if it's written by someone else, and it's just got JBL's face on it. He did write it. He sat down and typed it out and had it published and stuff like that, but it doesn't mention wrestling at all. It's not a biography. It's literally, here's how to work the stock market. But you see it on the shelf and you're like, oh, written by WWE legend JBL. And then you get through maybe the first 3 chapters and you think, he's not really mentioned anything about his career in wrestling. It's a bit of a...
Interesting guy.
Interesting guy indeed. So Keith Lee wins this match, which I do you know what? What I'll say about this is Keith Lee winning the match, right? Yes, it makes Keith Lee look really good. I don't feel it affects Randy Orton negatively either.
Well, the
If
thing is that they mention Randy Orton not giving people chances and all that, and then they have this match, and that's kind of like a chance thing in disguise.
I think if they had Randy Orton lose on Raw when Keith Lee debuted, that would have affected Randy Orton's standings when it comes to the sort of the title picture.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know, there was something about the way they did this match where Randy Orton looked really good, lost but looked really good. So I don't feel it's affected him negatively for, you know, his continuous run in the title scene against Drew. So no, I was happy with that. Then we have the match that is Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. How many times do we have to go through this same circle?
The same match
over and over again. Oh, it's a tag match this week. Okay, it's the same stuff though. Like,
I would just like to see Dominic go down to NXT, as we discussed last week, and Ray become a manager or something like that. Just a legend figurehead.
The best thing about this match was Rey Mysterio.
Of course,
solid performance from Rey Mysterio.
You can, until to the point where he physically can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
He will do, or wrestle his style
Mm-hmm.
anymore. He will do amazing performances because I don't really watch Luchador, but he's probably the best out there, or was at one point the best
He's
out there.
definitely the most famous, and I think that's probably something to take away as well. Is you'll ask people who's the best luchador and they'll only be able to name a few, one of which is Rey Mysterio, so he will be the best in their
Or like someone will only be able to name Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. So
Like,
I think he's got that advantage, you know, and he is one of the best. I'll give him that much. But I don't feel the lucha style gets as much of a promotion as they used to. There used to be an independent company called Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That was literally just lucha. However, they never really got past this point of popularity where they're in the same league as Impact, All Elite and WWE. They just never broke through that ceiling.
Yeah, but maybe that's because it's just all lucha.
I think a lot of people would take one look at it and be like, oh, they're doing a lot of flips and tricks. That makes me think of Japan. And then they watch a little bit more of Lucha Underground and then they just decide, I like that much. I like that style this much. Might as well just go and watch Japan, where it is, you know, it's more what I'm looking for, basically. I mean, you had some big names in Lucha Underground. You did have Rey Mysterio there for a while. You had Pentagon Jr., who's now in AEW. You had Johnny Mundo, who is now back to being John Morrison on SmackDown.
Or is our guy Kalisto?
Yeah, Kalisto. The first Sin Cara, after he was fired, went to Lucha Underground as somebody else. I can't remember their name. And then you had King Puma, who was it King Puma or Prince Puma? I think it was Prince Puma, who took off his mask and was Ricochet. That's basically what it is. So he was Prince Puma, but then he also wrestled as Ricochet in Japan. He would do Mexico, Japan, America, Mexico, Japan. He was all over the place, and then he just decided, I'm just going to be one person.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't mind that, but yeah. So anyway, Lucha Underground. We've got sidetracked a wee bit. Lucha Underground aren't as popular as what the lucha style is on WWE.
Summing up the match.
Summing up the match, bell to bell, solid performance from Rey. Dominic Mysterio has now got rid of his hood.
Good.
He wrestles in that sort of Mustafa Ali style vest, the black and blue with no hood anymore, which is great. But again, Dominic is just giving off this vibe where he is
too amateur.
He's too amateur. He's NXT level. Put him with NXT, as we say. Seth. So the Padre and Son Mysterios win the match. Because Buddy Murphy messes up, so Seth Rollins leaves Buddy Murphy on the entrance ramp, looking really sad. That's it. that was that match. So your main event,
and that's them.
Oh yeah, that was Rey Mysterio's costume. I thought I'd throw this picture in. So Rey Mysterio, definitely better than his last one where he looked like he collected bins in the horror show.
Not as good as what he used to wear, where it was just trousers.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Everything's a bit tighter on Rey Mysterio now.
No, yeah.
Like it's tight.
He had really baggy trousers.
Yeah. And his masks are now got
mohawks,
like mohawks and stuff to it. There was one he had a match with Brock Lesnar. It was WrestleMania or something like that. It was when he came back last year. And he was talking about how he was taking the match seriously and he wasn't messing around. He wasn't here for fun. He was here for the title. He was here to take down big guys like Brock Lesnar. So he was talking all serious, and then he came out for his match and he had a clown luchador outfit on, and everybody was like, huh. Weird that it would be built up to be such a serious match, yet you're going to come out dressed like a clown.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, Payback, great performance. So the Universal No Holds Barred triple threat match. Obviously we discussed last week on our episode that Monday Night Raw had SmackDown had Adam Pearce, a backstage personality, try and get the signature from these three men. Now he never got Roman's signature. I believe on last week's episode I mentioned that it ended with Adam Pearce getting the signature. It ended with Adam Pearce getting to talk to Roman Reigns. He never got a signature. Roman Reigns just said, "I'll be there." We never had a moment where Adam Pearce had to report back to Vince McMahon and say, "Listen, I got two," and Roman said he would be there. I would love to see Vince McMahon's reaction, because Adam Pearce had one job: get 3 signatures. So yeah, that was the whole thing.
So he came at the end of the match. Yeah.
We have a moment where the Fiend comes out first, Braun Strowman comes out second. They announce Roman Reigns, but he never comes out. No music hits or anything like that. So we have basically a no holds barred 1-on-1, and everybody's like, it's one of these things where I don't think it was a great idea, because you've got all the fans sitting in the Thunderdome waiting.
Yeah.
They're not really focusing on the two you've got in the ring just now, because they're waiting on number 3 coming out.
I don't think it's a good idea, because it's not a triple threat match.
It's not a triple threat match.
If he doesn't appear at the start, then he should be in the match.
I would say that at that point change it so that it's just a 1-on-1 exactly. So anyway, we have a standard match between Braun Strowman and the Fiend. We have a couple of sort of Extreme Rules moments, a couple of no holds barred moments where they use weapons and stuff and steel chairs. The Fiend goes under the ring and pulls out this big like Harley Quinn mallet thing, uses it on Braun. So that was cool. Then they have a ring shattering moment.
Yep.
Which looked a lot better when it was the Big Show and was it the Big Show and Vader?
Wasn't it Mark Henry?
Was it Mark Henry and Mark Henry and the Big Show?
I'm pretty sure like Mark Henry picked Big Show up and threw him.
Yeah, there's been a lot better ring destroying moments than the one at Payback that we had, because
only half the ring really fell, did it?
Yeah, like everything fell. Everything fell individually. Like it didn't happen neat. It was like, imagine somebody being put through the table, like being put through a table, right, where only one half of the table smashes and then the second one smashes. That's what it kind of felt like. The ring dropped, then tipped, then the ropes fell. But it didn't happen fluently. It happened quite. There was intervals. Yeah, it was scripted. It was as if there was 3 buttons backstage, and the guys just went 1, 2, and then he's forgot about the ropes, and then he's oh shit 3. It just didn't seem very natural the way the ring fell apart. You had the referee as well. The referee was like falling backwards for like 10 minutes trying to catch the ropes that weren't there anymore. He was like whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was like come on. So as this all unfolds, they're lying in the ring. They're out of action, catching their breath, whatever. The music hits for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes out, tries to pin the Fiend. The Fiend kicks out, so he tries to pin Braun. Braun kicks out. The Fiend gets up, so Roman Reigns beats him back down, and I don't think he hits him with another spear because of the position of the ring. I think he just pins him, and then he wins.
Even though he shouldn't have won because it was the end of the match.
Yeah, exactly.
He came at the wrong time. I don't get how they accept that. If he didn't get his signature, then he's not in it. It makes no sense.
I would agree with you.
It's poor writing. Wrestling's writing and whole ideology of it is the fact that it's built upon rules.
Yeah.
And not anything can happen. This is an anything can happen thing. It's not like, oh, you have to pin the guy. It feels like Roman can just take it and go. Same with John Morrison that we'll talk about later. It's like there's no limitations. It's just, okay, this has happened.
It's like anything can happen, not anything should happen though.
Yeah. Like
he didn't sign the contract, which is the whole thing is like they don't always televise the contract signings. Like you don't always get a contract signing where MJF and John Moxley are in the ring. They don't always make a big deal about it unless they feel they have to. What you get is the contract is signed backstage because they do have to sign legally. They have to sign a contract because it's also their health and safety waiver and stuff like that. Like it's not just for the story. And this contract, although they turned it into a story and they turned Adam Pearce into a bit of a joke, they also still had to get Roman's signature or else he's not in the sanctioned match. Yep, Congosaurus is completely agreeing with the both of us. Yep, surely the contract is null and void as soon as the bell rings. Absolutely. You know, he didn't sign the contract, he just said I'll be there. And yeah, sure, verbal contracts are legal in most of the UK, including Scotland, but they're sure as hell ain't legally binding in America.
No. It's just like that's a bit more literal when we're talking about it. I'm talking like about a lot more of a story perspective, and it just feels cheap because
it feels as if they no longer know how to surprise us, which is wrong. The surprises with Roman just showing up.
Yeah, like that wasn't really a match that he was in. That was just him beating everyone up. He didn't take the title. He just beat everyone up.
Showed out, they wrecked everything and left,
Yeah,
as his t-shirt says. And he didn't even do that because he never wrecked the ring. It was the other two guys that he was sharing a ring with.
And then there's the new shirt that he got that annoyed me. Show up and win. He did not show up. He did not show up in that match.
So, there we go. Another thing I'll say about that match is I thought the obvious thing was to put the belt on Roman, and
they done it.
Yeah, they did it, and it surprised me that they chose the most obvious thing. But do you know what? He might be a good champion. Paul Heyman being in his corner might make him a better champion than what he was prior. Congosaurus just jumping in there. Also, are we supposed to believe it's real? So how stupid would he look if one of the others won before he turned up? That's very true. They could have completely botched it where the referee miscounted one of the false finishes. And then Roman Reigns comes out like, oh, I have actually missed it now. Despite being initially against it, I can actually accept Roman's being straight back in as a champ. I mean, you're going to have to accept it, man. I'm going to have to accept it. Luke's going to have to accept it. And with, as I just said, with Paul Heyman in his corner, hopefully, It fits in to his heel persona, and he has been playing it up on Twitter. I think I mentioned that to you on Twitter as well. Somebody said Roman Reigns yet again being forced down our throats, and Roman's commented saying that's because your mouth is so wide open. That is a weird way to come in, but yeah, sure. And Congosaurus is saying that Roman's heel behaviour seems to be working on you.
No, that is not him being a heel. That is the writing being poor. Because Vince McMahon or something should have came out and went, no, you can't have this. This is the Bailey and like taking the referee shirt on.
And then having
yeah
Zordon. Stephanie McMahon.
I wasn't mad at Bailey because she's a good heel. I was mad at Bailey because that's retarded and that's not how it works. Like that is just poor writing. Like I was happy when Steph came out. No one's supposed to like Steph.
I like watching the audio bar when you get worked up, Luke, because it always hits red. Like sometimes I'll just glance at the audio bar when we're speaking just to keep an eye on it. But I think you got quite agitated when we were discussing the fans on the Thunderdome using that as a platform to try and have somebody who WWE has, cleared from their allegations. The fans are still trying to get him fired through the Thunderdome.
Yeah. And then
the audio hit the red about 10 times during that discussion.
I got mad that fans are poking business when Triple H is obviously
one thing. Sort of drifting away from the pay-per-view as well and the match. Not a lot of news from the Thunderdome this week. Didn't really see much.
I think there's a lot more moderation going on. They've had help from.
There must have been teething. There must have been teething issues or something like that, because that's definitely a brand new thing to be thrown in like that. But yeah, so not a lot of news from the Thunderdome. We did have one guy who's very commonly known to attend wrestling events frequently, especially WWE, and he's always in the front row, wearing a green T-shirt and a John Cena hat. Somebody spotted him. Not in the front row, clearly he was quite high up, but the Thunderdome, I don't think you can choose where your screen is, so this guy was quite high up and everybody was like, oh man, if only he was in the front row where he belongs and stuff like that. It's one of these guys where I don't even notice.
Yeah.
He's not like the black guy with the glasses and the white T-shirt that attended The Undertaker losing his streak, who's famously depicted for just having that wide eyes, wide mouth image.
That picture is so famous to the point that people don't even know what match it's from, or that the fact it's even from wrestling.
It's one of the ones where I knew the picture, and I recently rewatched I say recently rewatched the match. I recently watched the Undertaker documentary where they talk about that match, and it shows you that guy, and I was like, oh god, that's right, it was the streak, that's why his face was like that. The Congosaurus just jumping in there, so he's quite likes your comments about what you were saying about Roman Reigns. Looks like he's a sneaky heel taking a cheap ass win.
No, but like, you know there are heels that aren't sneaky.
There's MJF heels and then there's Brock Lesnar heels. They're different heels.
Brock Lesnar's all about wrecking everyone and leave. Yeah, Roman Reigns has got that exact title and he doesn't do that. You can't say that's a heel thing.
Rock Lesnar.
Yeah, a heel should not be delegated to being cheap and like who's an Eddie Guerrero type thing where like they lie, they cheat, steal. They shouldn't be just directly put into that bunch.
Yeah,
a deal should have like a lot of different variations to it. Like, people care about heels more than they care about the face.
I would agree with you. I care about the heels more than I do the face as well.
So when they're putting the heels in such a situation where you feel it's cheap, you care less about them.
Yeah.
Now, so I care about Drew McIntyre because he isn't cheap or anything like that, and I care about. Okay, I don't know.
You care so much about this person, you don't know their name.
No, I care about Drew. I thought I had another person, but I don't remember. Maybe Dolph Ziggler, but now he's doing the Raw Underground stuff. there's not many good storylines going on now. But
No.
what I'm saying is that just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's a good heel thing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just.
Especially when you're building your heel to be somebody that isn't cheap, that isn't a cheater, that isn't a this, that isn't a that. You're building your heel up to be a destroyer. Yeah, he just wanders out at the end of the match, gets the pin, gets the belt.
Basically
walks
just
away.
took it.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next picture. Looking in, that's us wrapped up with a Payback. I believe the next picture is Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman celebrating after their victory, and Paul Heyman standing there with a Payback contract.
So I get
Cool.
Paul Heyman not really caring about when he came up at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's Paul Heyman, but
Mhm.
that's not Roman Reigns.
That's not Roman. That's not my Roman.
Yeah, and it's also not WWE to allow that to happen. but
Yeah.
who cares anymore? The writing
Eh.
staff have no idea what they're doing.
It definitely seems that way. So, Monday Night Raw. Let's just move on to... I don't know, I was going to say let's move on to something less disappointing, but that's wrong. Let's move on to Monday Night Raw. So, we start off with a number one contenders tournament kind of thing that they were doing. So, you had Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler. Lee wins, which I...
Dolph Ziggler's not doing Raw.
Dolph
Underground
Ziggler's...
stuff now.
Yeah, just have Dolph Ziggler do one thing. And if you don't want him to do anything, let him go back to doing stand-up. You don't need to put the guy... because you don't have anybody else, you're like, oh, fuck it,
Would
put in
he
Dolph
even be
Ziggler.
able to do stand up now?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, see,
He could do.
like,
He could stream stand. No, he can't.
No,
He
he
stream
can't-
stand up
he
because
can't.
Vince McMahon has cancelled all that now.
that's
God,
what I'm talking about.
just have him stand in like a public park on a cardboard box and shout stand up at people.
Do you
Don't
think he'll be able to even do that with WWE's new-
give him one thing. He was in the title scene with Drew McIntyre.
That's it.
Everybody knew he wasn't going to win it, so cool. He's had that. Right, then look at that, he's appeared in Raw Underground. Keep him in Raw Underground. Have him build up Raw Underground popularity. There's a lot of people on social media that say that they just tune out.
Yeah.
Like when Raw Underground comes up, that's when they go to the toilet. Like when a women's match comes up, that's when they go and make a drink. Like, just give Dolph Ziggler one thing for people to focus on.
Make
Don't have him
people
job.
interested,
Don't have
'cause
him job to Keith Lee.
People like Dolph.
People like Dolph. I like Dolph.
I love him. I think he's a funny, not funny, but like cool.
Yeah.
I think his personality over the time WWE's has been amazing.
Yes,
But-
exactly. So,
Yeah, he's doing this.
the number one contenders tournament thingy that they've done, Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler, Lee wins. Randy Orton
Yeah.
versus Kevin Owens. Now, this is all throughout the night, but my notes for Monday Night Raw are quite brief for obvious reasons for anybody that's seen it. You get Orton versus Owens, which Orton obviously wins. Owens gets attacked by Aleister Black, but
Why is Alistair doing this?
yes, I think I'll quote Corey Graves for the first time in my life and hopefully the last time in my life. Why? I don't know why Aleister Black's doing this just now. I don't know what he's got against Owens. So, Orton beats Owens because Owens was injured prior to the match. And then we have Seth Rollins beats Dominic. Now, I don't have an image for this. Look, I probably should have
Yeah.
got you one. Rey Mysterio brought his whole family to the show.
Like his real family.
Like his real family. Like, remember that picture I showed you? I think I put up in the... Was it... I can't remember if I put it up in the show or if I put it up in the social medias. It was a few weeks ago, and there's a picture of Ray dressed up in like a white shirt with a
Yes,
big
yeah, I
lucha
remember.
mask on it, and he had his wife, daughter, and Dominic behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three people all appeared on Raw. Like his wife showed up. His wife showed up. When did she show up? She showed up at SummerSlam, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then they had the daughter there as well. So the whole family showed up at Raw to watch Dominic get beaten by Seth Rollins. And you know, see if you're, you know, how old is Dominic? Dominic's like 22 or something like that, right? So let's just, but he looks like a teenager. Let's just say Dominic's a teenager, right? A teenager being put into a big match against a big name in the company just now, and he's got his mum, well, stepmom I think she is, stepmom, his dad who's quite, his dad's Rey Mysterio, that's pretty cool, but
Yeah.
but Rey Mysterio seems like a really I think he must make Dom feel really uncomfortable. I feel like he's that kind of a dad.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know if probably not a lot of people are going to get this reference right, but I imagine Dominic Mysterio at home. No, sorry, I imagine Rey Mysterio at home is a bit like the dad from Friday Night Dinner. I feel like Dominic will bring round a girlfriend, and Rey Mysterio will be really unknowingly embarrassing.
I never really got that.
I think it's the way that the way they had him at SummerSlam, where he was talking about how, Dominic, when you start to lose, I'm going to jump in the ring for you, I'm going to help you, I love you, I'm so proud of you and all that. And Dominic was like, don't. I need you to promise me that you'll just stand at the ringside, just stand backstage as well, please. I don't know, I kind of feel that gave me this image that Rey Mysterio's quite an overbearing dad, and Dominic's like, right, I can do it. Right, I've done the training, I can do it, just you stand back a wee bit.
Dominic can't though.
Dominic thinks he can.
Right.
Dominic thinks he can do it. I don't think he can do it. I know he can't do it. Dominic thinks he can do it. And then this week on Raw, we have Dominic's entire family backstage watching him on one of the fucking famous monitors where the wrestlers backstage are just watching the match. Like,
Yeah.
They have his entire family watching him. That would put me off if I was in Dominic's shoes. So Dominic loses to Seth Rollins.
Good.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Everyone in Dominic's family watches Dominic get curb stomped and lose. that's one of my notes here, is everyone watches Dominic get stomped and loses.
See, I want to propose a thing where we just ignore these storylines, but it's all we've got.
It's all they're giving us. Like, if we were to ignore the storylines that we don't like, we would be reviewing one match a week for WWE. And
that would probably be
or
Drew's.
two matches maybe, because you would have the title scene for Raw, which is Drew, and then on SmackDown you would have Big E.
Yeah, Big E.
That's all we would be discussing.
This would be like a 20-minute show.
God. I like to think that our fans would not be happy with that, but we'll let them decide. So we have the Iconics lose against the Riot. Oh God, what they called, the Riot Squad, the Riot Crew, the Riot Squad. The Riot Squad sounds right.
Is it necessary?
That's how much I care about them. The match was the winner gets a title shot at the SmackDown Championship. The loser has to disband. I thought that was really quite a harsh.
That
thing.
is a consequence.
Yeah, I mean that is like a losing punishment. That is what But the thing is, the Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, weren't a team for so long. They've only been a team now for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and they're in a match where if they lose they have to stop being a team.
It's like,
whereas these guys have never broke up. They've always been together. They've never had a singles run. Or the Iconics, if anyone's not sure who I'm talking about, sorry, the Iconics, who we've got Billie Kay crying and Peyton Royce in her arms on Raw. That's on the screen just now for anyone that can't see it. The reason they're crying is because obviously they lost. They now have to disband as being a tag team. They weren't doing much anyway.
I think this run, or no, sorry, this match would have been good if, like, they had a rivalry between two tag teams, them, the Iconics, and the one other, right? And it's been going on for such a long time. Everyone's like, oh, this is a good run. I probably won't have anything like that in WWE for a while though. And then, like, everyone loves it, and then they're like, okay, we've got to end this.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how. Lose or disbands.
Yeah.
That would be such a good idea, don't you think?
It'd be such a good idea for a higher up in the card match, I think.
And it would be so emotional in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the Iconics have like another year to build that up with them, that who they were against. That would have worked so well. But they rushed it.
Yeah, they jumped straight into the fact that one of them had to lose. Just obviously this is just shite. We get Kongosaurus, so I've missed a couple of Kongosaurus' comments just because I was getting really into this idea that Rey Mysterio is a really overbearing, embarrassing dad. So I'll move on and go back into the comments. So Kongosaurus, thinks it would have been funnier if Ray's family all showed up with masks on.
I don't know why they
Or
never
like
done that.
they have an image of Dominic's sister being born wearing a lucha mask.
I don't know why Dominic never wore a mask.
I know, it's really that's odd. Why wouldn't you? I mean, take
I
it
don't know,
off if you want,
I
but
guess when he
maybe
was
the
a
mask
kid.
is your wrestling gear.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear it all the time. But he's also
It
saying
doesn't
Congress.
flap around.
Exactly. Congasaurus is also saying that this week they referred to this woman being Dominic's mum. Yet later on in the show, she was referred to as Ray's wife again.
Must have been a mistake.
Maybe, I'm not sure. Rey Mysterio was also injured, which Congasaurus is just commenting on there. If Ray's injury is legit, which I'm led to believe, then hopefully it's the end of Dominic on Raw. Hell yeah, I'd agree with that.
But what else are they gonna do? Arm wrestling matches?
Put him in NXT. Put him in NXT. Get rid of him.
No,
put
I
him in
mean
NXT.
like.
Or what else are they going to do with this now?
Yeah, no, not with it. With the time that they've lost. Like, Keith Lee, they'll probably do stuff with him.
I just want Keith Lee to destroy Dominic every week.
Big E, maybe.
Move me SmackDown so Big E can beat, or move me SmackDown so Sheamus can just bro kick him every week. So Congasaurus is commenting on the sort of the women's situation just now. What's the point in having a women's tag team title when when you then split up a really proper tag team? That is absolutely true. Bayley and Sasha Banks don't have a tag team name. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler don't have a tag team name.
They were made like a week ago.
Yep. Asuka and Kairi Sane, when they were together, were called the Kabuki Warriors for 2 weeks, and then they were just called Kairi Sane and Asuka.
But did that go?
So why give some teams names and some teams don't have names? But these guys, the Iconics, had a name, had a gimmick, had a chemistry, yet they were the ones that were forced to split up. Congasaurus also saying, look, you're spot on. If it had a proper story behind it, it would have been good. This was just out of nowhere. Absolutely.
Move on. Let's move on.
Anyway, move on. So we had a little segment here where
The Tune Out show.
the tune out show, the toilet break show, Raw Underground, and I don't want to call it that. That's just what it is now. So Peyton Royce and Billy Kay end up in Raw Underground, where Peyton Royce throws Billy Kay. There's somebody I can't remember her name off the top of my head. There's somebody in there who's already beaten up 3 people, and she says, "Who's next?" And Peyton Royce just grabs Billy Kay, throws her in. She then stands up, still wearing her like blue, shiny, glittery ring gear, like not MMA style at all. Where you can see the woman that she's fighting is wearing jeans and like a ripped leather top and stuff like that. She just looks like a villain. You've got Billy Kay that looks like something out of My Little Pony. Yeah, who's just like not really sure what to do. She starts crying because she's worried, and then she gets kicked in the head. She goes out like a light. Like somebody comes over and lifts up her arm and drops it, and she's dead. Shane McMahon then hugs Peyton Royce, and a lot of people commented on the fact that Shane McMahon looks like a wrestling fan that showed up at like WrestleCon or something and is uncomfortably holding a female wrestler.
Oh no.
Because Peyton Royce has got this cringe smile on.
That's like one of the most demeaning things to be called. Because I've seen like celebrities being held by big fat rednecks with, like fedoras holding,
like hugging them from behind and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's just weird. So yeah, we got Shane McMahon doing that. We also, in Raw Underground later on in the show, we have Titus O'Neil making an appearance. Now, do you know much about Titus O'Neil?
I remember he was in a tag team with one other guy, and their entrance was a whistle at the start.
Yes.
And I loved it.
So
I loved it.
Titus O'Neil is one of my favourite WWE wrestlers.
I like him.
Who, when he tag teamed with the real time players, when he tag teamed with this other guy. Oh
That
God,
was
what's his
black,
name?
I'm pretty
Something Young, Darren Young. That was it, Darren Young. There we go. Congasaurus, right at the exact moment my brain clicks into action. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil were the prime time players, and they did come out to the whistle.
Yeah.
And then they came out and they would go on about how they would continuously say millions of dollars, but it was like millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars, and a lot of people got into it. It was almost as popular as like yes chants.
Oh.
That's how awesome it was. So Titus O'Neil, that him and Darren Young split up, had a bit of a feud. It was like a low to mid card feud, but I enjoyed it because Titus O'Neil always puts on a great performance. He's like a big 7 foot. He looks like Terry Crews, right? If Terry Crews was a professional wrestler, it's Titus O'Neil. So yeah, that was great. We have Titus O'Neil showing up on Raw Underground, destroys like 3 people. I thought it was amazing. I loved seeing them.
I don't know. It's totally bizarre that they have never found anything after primetime players for Titus. He is huge, he works well, and he's also an absolute hero in real life, yeah.
That's true. He was nominated for the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award or something like that for his charity. Well, yeah, awesome guy backstage. After primetime players, they gave him something called Titus Worldwide, which was him, Apollo Crews, and Dana Brooke. But they didn't really do much. Titus O'Neil didn't really wrestle a lot because he was more like the manager of it all. But there was only 3 people. You know, I think what they wanted to do for Titus Worldwide is turn that into, you know, like a good version of the Dark Order, like good guys. But they never really got anybody. It was only those 3 people. So that was a bit poor. Then they disappeared. They disbanded.
So what I don't get is why they're putting people like Dolph and Titus and Raw Underground instead of trying to bring up new people to do their thing.
I'm not sure what their plan is. I was just happy to see Titus O'Neil showing up in Raw Underground.
Do you think Titus would have been good as that whole manager thing we're talking about in NXT?
Titus O'Neil would have been very good. The only issue with that, right, and I feel it may actually work in this fantasy storyline. Titus O'Neil goes to NXT and starts to manage somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Then that person gets in a feud with somebody who also has a manager or somebody who's really good on the mic as well as in the ring performing. They then build up this promo package of Titus O'Neil falling on his entrance to the Saudi Arabia Greatest Royal Rumble and sliding under the ring. I think that would... Now that I've said it out loud, I think that would be quite a good little thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, right. At first I was thinking that'd be quite negative, but you know what? It wouldn't. Titus O'Neil would work with it.
He did then.
He did then, yep. He was one of the first people to make a meme out of it, I'm sure.
It's definitely funny.
Yeah, so, moving on then, we have the finals to this number 1 contenders tournament thing. You've got Keith Lee versus Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Actually, a really good performance from all of them. Randy Orton sneaks the victory. Keith Lee gets an amazing... Now, I don't know if you knew this, or I don't know if I mentioned it to you. Keith Lee's finisher is the Spirit Bomb. Which I'm
pretty sure I've seen it, but...
Oh, it's just your general power bomb. It's the name that obviously...
So they called it the Spirit Bomb?
He's called it the Spirit Bomb. That was his choice.
I knew
and I think it's a bit like... I don't know, there's other wrestlers that have sort of similar finishers and signatures that's based on what they like. So obviously Keith Lee's a big fan of anime and Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, so his finisher is the Spirit Bomb. And being somebody that can relate to that is a plus for me.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's all I've really got. That's all I've really got to that.
I like the idea of it, but if he's going to be forced to be this different character that he isn't, then it's hard to relate on that level, is it?
Well, it's hard to relate. It's hard to relate on that level. But when he was in NXT doing the Spirit Bomb, I was like, oh, cool.
That's cool.
Cool. They called it this. It's called the Spirit Bomb. Cool. So after Monday Night Raw finishes, Randy Orton is the number 1 contender for the Raw Championship against Drew. Cool. Next, in the week we have Super Tuesday NXT. I can't remember why they moved it. I think they moved it to Tuesday because they said there was something that clashed with the time schedule. However, a lot of people believe they changed it because the Wednesday night ratings weren't getting enough because of AEW.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Like, Chris Jericho every week reveals the numbers between the USA Network and TNT, and for the past lots of weeks, AEW has been winning. Even when they did NXT Takeover on Saturday, AEW moved their Wednesday night show to Saturday. They said it was because of NBA. I think they said it was because of basketball.
Yeah, it was an NBA. So I remember talking about this. They had to reschedule because of NBA and all that, which wasn't a bad thing.
So they rescheduled because of NBA, but they chose to do it on the same night NXT were having NXT Takeover.
Ooh.
And Dynamite won again.
Cause
whether or not that was intentional, I quite like
obviously it's going to be intentional
Uh-huh.
because they'll be like, oh, we have an opportunity to do something, and they done it.
And I think, yes, they had Super Tuesday this week, but the talk is that NXT is going to get moved to Tuesdays permanently. That's the game plan, and AEW can't change that because they do their dark AEW Dark show on a Tuesday. Now, unless they want to make that a different day and then move Dynamite to Tuesday, at that point I'm going to be like, okay, I see what Tony Khan's doing. He's being sneaky.
Yeah, because NXT is their target right now. All that NXT, as we know, has got going on is Karrion Kross, who's injured, and these 4 guys up here. Because I know people like Adam Cole. You might not. I know other people do. I know people like Ciampa.
Yes. Tommaso
Is
Ciampa.
that you said? Yeah, Ciampa.
Yeah, with the big
I
beard.
know people like Ciampa as well. And of course Finn Balor, he's a big name.
Everyone likes Finn Balor.
Gargano. Is that Gargano? Yeah, Gargano. I don't really watch Gargano. Well, yeah, people like everyone here.
Yes. Everyone that's on the screen just now, everybody likes.
This is there's also Velvet.
Velveteen Dream.
He's kind of,
Rhea Ripley. There's other competitors in NXT.
But like these are the big guys right now.
Yes.
And I don't know. They're probably gonna try and target. Okay. Gonna try and target NXT.
Yes.
To overshine them.
Aye, I think so. Anyway, so these guys put on a really good match. I do have more in-depth notes to this match. Wait, I'll just get them up just now.
It's a
this is the only match I covered. NXT never got anything from me. This is the only match I covered. So we start off with all 4 men, right? Let's just start off by saying all 4 men are great on their own. So it starts off with really good match. We get, I think it's at least 40 minutes before we get the first pin. So Finn Balor gets the first pin. Johnny Gargano gets the second. Adam Cole gets the third. And then there's a bit of a break before Tommaso Ciampa evens it up. So everyone's sitting on 1 pin each. Right, so everyone's going to get 1 pin in an Iron Man match like this. Like,
if someone has no pins,
nobody
underwhelming.
If anybody's got 0 pins, then they don't deserve any other opportunities, really. Let's just say that. So 1 minute to go. Balor gets the second pin, but Cole then sneaks underneath sort of everybody, not literally obviously, sneaks around everybody and gets the second pin. So the match ends after 60 minutes of the fans watching this, on the edge of their seats and stuff. It ends in a tie, which I had read that it was already going to happen. It was already going to end in a tie. There was no guaranteed winner. Backstage rumour was it was ending in a tie. So,
but like the problem with putting that in a tie is that it's such a long match. There's so much going on.
You kind of want a finale, don't you?
You want a winner, a payoff to it. So, I don't know.
So yeah, ends in a tie. Adam Cole and Finn Balor, and the general manager of NXT comes out holding the belt and announces that next week Balor and Cole will go 1-on-1 for the NXT champion. Now the way I see it, right, is Adam Cole's had his run. Adam Cole had a long run as the NXT champion.
Yep.
It's Finn's winning it. That's all I'm going to say. There's no,
Well-
I've not read rumours or anything like that, or spoilers, but Finn's winning it. That's what I'll say.
But like Finn is also WWE talent as well, so it just feels so.
He is. Do you think
Hey,
they would give it to?
Weird. What's going on is that we're dwelling into the women's championship territory right now for women's Raw championship.
Yeah.
Asuka and all that.
Yeah, and all that.
Sasha.
Couple of comments there from Congosaurus. So Super Tuesday is also next week, so they're kind of sticking to this Tuesday thing. It makes sense to keep them apart. Impact will be even more stuffed if NXT does move to Tuesday. If Impact want to start fixing things, then they're going to just have to start fixing things. It's not going to happen to them. They're still working in empty arenas. They're still.
They just need to get people in, and people would go there.
It's the thing. I wouldn't. They can stay on Tuesdays if they want. If they want to be that sort of stubborn, but they need to start bringing in a live audience or something. They need to do something.
Yeah.
Understand with the ridiculous amount of wrestling this week that needs to focus on main angles, but I did enjoy the daft forklift spot in the 6-man tag match. I'm not sure what Congosaurus is talking about. I think I may have skipped accidentally right over that. I was aware there was a 6-man tag team match. I just didn't watch that match, unfortunately. But Congosaurus he enjoyed the 6-man tag team match because there was a forklift spot. Go ahead and watch that then if anyone is interested. Again, the NXT guys are being small and not bringing in new fans was shown when William Regal was bigger than both of them. That's a good point. Adam Cole about 6 months ago or something, either he himself released it or WWE released it that he was 6 foot tall.
Oh yeah,
But there has been so many pictures of fans standing next to him and other wrestlers standing next to him.
He's like 5'9".
5'9" or 5'8" or something. He's a fairly, and I think I'm like 5'11" or 5'10", so I'm not going to be as tall as half of these guys, but in WWE standards, Adam Cole's a short guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was NXT.
Finn's quite short, isn't he?
Finn, I do believe Finn's quite a short guy. He was the shortest guy in the Bullet Club when he was in Japan.
I think he was like 5'10".
Something like that. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So I've always thought Adam was a small guy, and that whole 6 foot thing just confused me. But anyway,
so next up we have
AEW.
AEW. We get Dynamite. There wasn't much to report from AEW Dark, so we'll just move straight into Dynamite. We start off with Santina and Ortiz versus the Best Friends in tag team action. I love watching the Best Friends in action. Santina and Ortiz I don't mind. I just feel personally that they're better in the inner circle. They're a lot better when they're in multiple men tag team matches. I don't really like watching them on their own, but yeah, Best Friends, I think they're funny, I think they're great, and they put on a great performance every time. Even when they are seriously in matches, they are funny, whether it's facial expressions or messing up pins or messing up tags and stuff like that, they make it work. The match after that, we have Chris Jericho versus Joey Janela. I don't know much about Joey Janela. I didn't know anything about him before he appeared on... I didn't know much about him before he appeared on Dynamite. I always heard the name Janela and thought Jannetty, who's a completely different guy, who's a completely different, he's an old WWE legend and stuff like that. So Janela just completely missed in my mind. Chris Jericho on his podcast doesn't love him, or at least he didn't love him. I don't know about now that he's had a proper match with him, but during their match, they have Orange Cassidy sort of in the background. He's just sort of kicking about because they have hopefully one last match All Out, which was last night. Mm-hmm. They have a mimosa Mimosa Mayhem, I think they called it, which you can either win by pin, submission, or by throwing your opponent into a bath of orange juice and champagne.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the image.
So
it was I saw Chris in it.
Yeah.
It was
spoiler alert. So, yeah. Anyway, Dynamite. Joey Janela got a lot of heat for being in this match. It was almost as if people forgot he existed. People have come out of the woodwork just to say they don't like him.
Well, that makes no sense. It's just another match.
Yeah, I don't think they're basing their dislike on the match. I think it's just they've not seen him on his own in a while, because we discussed last week that he is a tag team with Sonny Kiss.
Yeah, but
new information to you is that Sonny Kiss is a guy.
Yeah. No, that happens.
Yeah,
sure, I'm not the first.
No, you're not the first.
Or the last.
You're not the first. Trust me. There was a big upset when Sonny Kiss first appeared on AEW, where it was like, oh, AEW are doing mixed matches where they're actually beating up the women, and then Sonny Kiss was like, I'm a guy, and a lot of the fans who didn't look into it before posting on social media kind of looked a bit stupid after,
I guess,
after saying comments like that, like, oh, it's disgraceful, or, oh yes, back to old school mixed matches, woo. No, he's a guy. they're not doing that. They're not that extreme yet. So yeah, Joey Janela took a bit of a backlash for being in this, for existing.
Yeah,
people weren't happy with that. So moving on then, Dynamite, we have Team Taz, which I struggled to find an image on. Like, I struggled to find an image of Team Taz, which is obviously Taz, Brian Cage, the FTW champion, and Ricky Starks. I couldn't find a picture of the three of them together, which is why we've got on the screen just now, we've got Taz and Brian Cage, and then the following image, look will Photoshop Ricky Starks. He is quite short, so that makes more sense. Yeah. So we get Team Taz come out. Team Taz, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks are appearing in the 20-man Battle Royal, or did appear in the 20-man Battle Royal, seeing as that was last night. I should do past tense, shouldn't I? I've not seen it. We're not going to review it just yet. We'll save that for next week. But I'll say it in future tense, even though it happened last night. For anyone, if anyone wants to call me out, now,
go between if we want. I don't think people are going to go like, oh no.
Hopefully nobody cares. So Team Taz comes out. Taz does all the talking. Talks about how Brian Cage is the machine, Ricky Starks is the absolute Ricky Stark. They're going to win the battle. I'm pretty sure he says they're going to win the Battle Royale, but they can't win it. It's one man wins it. It's a Battle Royale. Yeah, sure, they could work it so that only one of them does win it, but there we go. So they're talking about how they're going to win. After they get interrupted, they don't even get to finish. They get interrupted by Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance Archer, who are the next image. There we go. So Jake the Snake,
they're involved now.
You hear Jake the Snake before you see him. You hear the hold on there, Taz. It looks just adding a wee bit of personality to the screenshots there. So they talk about Jake the Snake talks about how Lance Archer is going to destroy everybody because he is the Murder Hawk monster. He's going to shit on Ricky Starks. He's going to eat Brian Cage. Yeah, so that was great. And then, oh my goodness, they get interrupted by Eddie Kingston.
Is that Eddie Kingston?
That's Eddie Kingston.
Okay,
yeah, you've got me. So Eddie Kingston, who's going to be put on top of Taz's face, comes out, basically slags off both Jake the Snake and Taz for being old.
Okay.
His promo was really good because obviously he's the manager now for Lucha Bros and Butcher and Blade. He is that 4-man tag team manager. But see if you take all of his all of his promo work from Dynamite's episode this week, if you take it all and you pull out what he's poking fun at, it's mainly the fact that they're outdated. Eddie Kingston is the new face of he's the new manager of like AEW. He's the only one that the fans should be focusing on. Someone tries to interrupt him. I think it was Taz tries to say something, and then Eddie Kingston says, "Hold up, the king ain't finished yet," which it caught my attention.
Finished yet.
So he comes out with his stable, which don't have there we go. So Luke's gonna. This is entertaining for me to watch. So he comes out with the Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade.
We don't really have them.
I don't have an image for that. I couldn't find an image of people together. It was difficult, but yeah, Eddie Kingston, who's the main focus. So then they all start fighting, right?
Why?
Then the 17. Well, no, I suppose it wouldn't be the 17 other competitors because you've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in there. So the 10 other competitors in the match last night come out and basically have a battle royale there and then.
Yeah.
And now
it's
Lance Archer basically stands tall at the end of that. So Taz, Jake the Snake, Tully Blanchard, who appears as well with Sean Spears, all the old folk disappear and the battle royale continues. You do hear Jake the Snake in the outs, like, and you don't hear Taz, right? You don't hear Eddie Kingston, you don't hear Tully Blanchard, but you hear of Jake the Snake's like alcohol
and the
smoke, hard drugs induced voice that he's got. The battle royale itself was pretty meh to watch, but the build up to it with all the managers talking and slagging each other was great. Oh god, yeah, that was fun. I would go back and watch just that segment and then stop it as soon as the fighting starts.
I'm looking at this image right now, or like when I did look at this image.
Yeah.
This man has like wings.
That's the Swolverine.
Yeah, man. Like,
I've never been that close to Brian Cage's abs before. What are you looking at?
No, right. See where my mouse is.
Yes.
Viewers can't. What is that? It's like not really his abs. So
it's
or
not
his pecs.
not his,
It's like his back kind of.
His back muscles are bigger than his chest muscles.
That must be uncomfortable. Because think about it, his biceps will be hitting off his back muscles. It looks like he has extending bones coming out of his back. Like he's.
Do you think that's why they tried to build up and say that John Moxley can't put him in the paradigm shift?
Probably
because his back muscles is the biggest part of him.
You probably physically can't put him in the paradigm shift.
Okay, so a couple of comments in the chat box here. Congosaurus, the segment was it was a totally confusing mess. So many folk in the ring, talent who had been in the crowd, then picture versus picture segments. There was a lot of weird picture versus picture actually. Interview, then back to it, then away again. There was no real resolution. Your confusing, messy, moving graphics actually summarised it pretty damn well. Well done, Luke.
Well,
did you write Dynamite?
Yeah.
This
if
segment,
I could probably write WWE better than they can do it. I'm probably in AEW writing stuff right now.
If you can book Dominic better than anybody can book Dominic,
I think anyone can book Dominic better than what's happening right now.
Probably.
Like
Dominic's mum, Ray's wife, could probably book him better.
You know how those tag teams they don't like where you just put two random people together? That's better booking for Dominic than what he's getting right now.
Exactly. Okay.
Like Cesaro and Shinsuke.
So Congosaurus, you thought the segment was quite confusing and a bit messy. You need to admit though, before the fighting started, that was pretty. It wasn't even like it didn't grip me as like serious. This is it.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Yeah, it wasn't really anything else. Now we do have a new person in the comments. M78 Eddie. With the recent influx of well-trained veteran talent, AEW is poised to really put pressure on the WWE.
Well, apparently WWE aren't feeling the pressure because they're doing the same people and they do Raw Underground and put the same people on Raw Underground, so...
I think there's somebody backstage feeling the pressure. I think Triple H feels the pressure.
Yeah, but
I
Triple
don't-
H is like, he doesn't care.
I don't think Vince cares. I think
No.
there's a lot of like Vince probably. I don't know. I don't think Vince watches a lot of other shows.
I don't think Vince watches anything.
Vince doesn't watch his own show. You know,
Yeah.
surely Vince would know how bad his own show is. So after the messy segment that was summed up quite well by Luke messing with the pictures on the screen, we have Thunder Rosa,
Yeah.
the NWA Women's Champion, who made her debut last week, has a match against Serena Deeb, who I knew her from somewhere, and I looked into Serena Deeb, and Serena Deeb is the female competitor who was in CM Punk's straight edge society gimmick thing. There was a whole episode of SmackDown where they shaved her head.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't really remember her society thing, but I remember her getting her head shaved, and she was in the Royal Rumble ringside, when
She
he done
was,
that,
yeah.
when CM Punk done that amazing mic work.
Yeah.
But the fact that she has full grown hair now, I'm happy for her, I
Well,
guess.
I think that's what made me like. She was familiar, but I didn't know who she was straight away. I think it was the hair that sort of ruined it for me. I was like, "Who? I know who that is, but I
Yeah.
don't know who that is." Total smart comment, but great to see Serena on TV. Yeah, there was a lot of people who I imagine had no idea who she was, but yeah. That's the woman that CM Punk and Jamie Noble shaved her head on live TV. Thumbs up. The match itself was really good.
Really?
This will get me interested in the women's matches.
What? I might check it out because AEW women's stuff.
Thunder Rosa, who I was really impressed with when I watched NWA, which I would also recommend that to anyone that hasn't seen it. NWA, which you can get all the episodes on YouTube for free. You can get all the episodes on Fight TV for free? Question mark maybe.
Don't quote.
Don't quote me on that. You can definitely get all the episodes on YouTube for free. They've got a whole playlist.
Yeah.
They've got everything that you could want. Their pay-per-views aren't free, however, which is understandable. Pay-per-view, you know. But Thunder Rosa beat Serena Deeb, which means Thunder Rosa gets an opportunity at the women's title on All Out, which was last night. I don't know the results. I hope that Thunder Rosa won, because I would quite like to see AEW put the NWA title on the line. I know it's not their company. I know it's not, they don't have the rights or anything like that.
But
I would
the
like-
person doesn't need to lose.
Yeah, person doesn't need to root. I
Yeah.
mean, she comes out wearing the belt. She's quoted in the card, that's on your screen just now as NWA Women's World Champion, Thunder Rosa. So, yeah,
You could just easily write it then she doesn't lose.
there is no NWA just now, so I think the people that own NWA should have a quick chat with Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes and stuff like that, and just say, listen, to keep our company relevant, why don't you use our belts? Because the NWA men's champion, Nick Aldis, is doing absolutely nothing just now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great champion. He's a great independent champion. Kind of miss him. We also...
Do you think the belts look good though?
I think the men's belt looks good. The women's belt looks quite small.
I can see his white.
Quite small as well.
But I like the idea of it being white.
Yeah.
Because although I think gold is probably the best thing to go for as a champion, I think having white mixed with gold can actually show quite a good
It looks
calibre of
good colour scheme. We have a weird comment from JR, which if it wasn't for Tony Schiavone, he probably would have got a lot of trouble on social media. He says that this women's match is the one of the only, or actually, what was the word?
one of
he
the
used?
actually good matches.
Yeah, it's like this is actually one of the good matches that AEW have put it, and then it's like whoa. So he stops himself halfway through. Well, he stops himself after he said the bad thing. Like, he doesn't finish the sentence, but the damage has been done, and he's like, I'm probably going to get into trouble for this. And then Tony Schiavone jumps in and goes, well, yeah, I mean, I think what you mean is obviously we've got lots of good women competitors and they all put on good matches, but this match especially, when you've got talent like Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, and then they just sort of brushed over
Yeah,
it.
I tried to trail it off.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as JBL when he said between the great Khali and Natalia that he's sickened by this interspecies relationship.
Yeah.
And then instead of covering it up, they asked him to repeat himself.
Interspecies.
JR saying bad things only gets worse this week. That's true. He said a couple of other things. I like JR too much to try and bury the guy, but I just feel that had to be mentioned because people have already brought it up. And yeah, I'm not going to gloss over it. He said it, but they fixed it, and that's what I'm impressed with. So we close the show with the lawyer Mark Sterling versus Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Mark Sterling comes out to MJF's music with Wardlow in tow. Wardlow looking like a total badass, wearing like work trousers, work shoes, but a black tank top.
Yeah, he's like I don't know, Men in Black or something.
Just look cool.
Yeah.
Man. Just like Wardlow always looks cool. Whether he's wearing a suit or wrestling gear, he looks cool. So they come out. The lawyer, who is revealed to have an actual name, he's Mark Sterling. He comes out, gets a mic from someone and starts to talk about how he's been training with Wardlow week in, week out. It's only been 1 week since they signed the contract. So he's been training with Wardlow in preparation for this match. And he's ready to take on. He says that Jon Moxley's sneaky and he's a villain and he's never heard of somebody sneaking in a secret page at the end of the contract and it shouldn't be legal, but he's had it looked over by his colleagues and they said that it's legal. So it was really funny. He gives the mic back to the referee. He then asks Wardlow to give him like a quick crash course on how to do a headlock. He puts Wardlow in a headlock and Wardlow just gets out of it. Like he doesn't break it or anything. He like literally moves his head backwards to get out of the headlock. And then Mark Sterling's like, "Oh, should I hold it like this or should I hold it?" And he starts to mess about with his hands, and Wardlow just puts him in a headlock. And then the camera gets really close, and you can actually hear like a muffled "Okay," and then Wardlow lets him go. He climbs in the ring. Jon Moxley's music hits. He climbs out the ring. Jon Moxley comes in the ring. The wrestler, the lawyer, Mark Sterling, gets in the ring. Now he does mention that he's got no wrestling experience. He has only been training for these 7 days, but in the search for a good image for this match, I managed to find an image from Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure when this was. Clearly when there was a live audience and after they changed the Raw logo, we have Mark Sterling competing in a WWE ring on Monday Night Raw. I couldn't find this match. However, I imagine he lost. I imagine this tag team lost.
Who even is Mitchell Lyons?
No idea. Don't know who Mitchell Lyons is. He might be somebody else's lawyer.
Maybe.
But Mark Sterling isn't a lawyer. Mark Sterling is a wrestler. Gasp.
No.
Yeah, so the match happens. Jon Moxley absolutely ruins this lawyer to such an extent where the commentary team stopped calling him Jon's opponent and start calling him Jon's prey.
Yeah.
And how Jon is hunting and stuff like that. So that was really good. At the end of the match, we have MJF comes out with his walker and his jacket, his neck brace. He gets to the top of the entrance ramp. He throws the walker away, takes off the neck brace, and then we have Tony Schiavone on commentary who says, "My God, there was nothing wrong with him." It's like, okay, yeah, we kind of like, did you not know this, Tony? Like everybody at home knew this. So he takes off all his injury stuff. He takes off his jacket, takes off his scarf, rolls up his sleeves, gets in the ring. Wardlow and MJF then beat up Jon Moxley. Wardlow then gives MJF the diamond ring that he won. He won that at a pay-per-view and the name is lost on me now. I want to say it was All Out, but I could be wrong. I think it was All Out last year actually, he won the diamond ring. So he punches John Moxley in the face with the diamond ring, blood goes everywhere. John Moxley busted open and MJF gets a good old handful of it, wipes it on his face and wipes it on his tongue. A different MJF. Like a really messed up, serious MJF.
Well, MJF, I think, has always been messed up. Have you never watched that kind of documentary on YouTube? And what it is that just a guy goes to different wrestlers and like unknown up and coming wrestlers and talks about their life and all that. And like a lot of it is like really serious, and then you get to MJF, and it's like his house is like a haunted, like not a haunted house, but like it's a lot of shady stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can hear like he acts so sincere at the start, and the more you spend time with MJF, the more like you think this place is messed up. You never see his family, but you hear him all the time. There's a lot of like photos of himself and all that.
I have not seen this documentary. If it's on YouTube, what I will do is I will find the link for it on YouTube and I will post it on our social media.
Let me put up my display capture. Right.
Yeah. Are you going to get the video up just now?
Yeah. I'll try and get it up.
Okay, here's something new, people. We're going to have a video playing.
Well, not playing, but I'm gonna get the video up.
Oh, well, okay, we'll get the video up.
Well,
so yeah, Luke will find it. I'll just quickly go on about how. So yeah, MJF finishes. He closes the show with blood all over his face and on his vest and stuff like that, and that's how Dynamite ends. Overall, I thought it was a great Dynamite. A lot of great segments. Yes, the sort of sneak preview of the Battle Royale.
Yeah,
was,
okay, I found it.
So right there. Okay, so
you finish your sentence and then I'll.
Alright, okay. So yeah, although the Battle Royale sort of teaser was kind of all over the place, I did really enjoy the beginning of it, where all the managers were sort of hyping up their talent and burying the other people. I thought that was great. Yeah, so that was Dynamite. I thought it was Dynamite.
So it's by this guy Kenny Johnson.
Okay.
And what he's done is that he's just got like other up and coming wrestlers and all that as well. And as you can see here, it says a real documentary.
Making Maxwell Jacob Friedman MJF a real documentary.
Yeah, so it's just him talking about MJF, him starting out and all that.
Yeah.
And then once you get to his house, or his front door, I'm trying to find the part, he keeps asking to do the take again. So he's like trying to make it more authentic.
Do you think he's putting it on, or do you think this is, like, I know it says a real documentary, but do you think he's playing a character?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. This is
right,
him.
Okay.
This is a part of his character that he's trying to put on. So like, he's even made it really awkward as well.
When they put him in black and white, it's quite sinister looking.
Yeah.
It's like serial killers before they were caught. Yeah, so
it is quite awkward.
Yeah.
This is all true. This is a real documentary. All other wrestling documentaries are predetermined or fake. This is
bold statement.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, basically what we're saying is this documentary, check it out.
I'm not
seems
saying
to thoroughly enjoy it. So
I'm not saying this is like 100% fake,
uh-huh.
but I'm saying that like there are, because of MJF's dedication to wrestling and
yes.
his dedication to keeping up this persona.
Uh-huh.
There are elements of it which are obviously playing to his character.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Just type in MJF documentary.
Right, no worries. Okay, so we'll do that. I'll get that link as well, put it on our social medias as well. So anyway, SmackDown. Let's close off the show. So SmackDown, we have it opens up with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns making their way to the ring. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, when they're in the ring, much like Paul Heyman when he was with Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, he didn't really. Roman Reigns just sort of stood in silence. Paul Heyman done most of the talking, which I'm not against. I thought it was quite good.
Roman he isn't amazing on mic. He's improved
He
because
has improved a lot. He's just still not up there.
he still just looks like muscle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he works really well in ring. He's a great wrestler, of course. But I don't know.
But I've got the quote here from Paul Heyman. So to close off this segment, Paul Heyman, he's already introduced himself, but he's now introducing himself as his advocate for Roman Reigns.
Has he called Roman Reigns his client?
No.
Okay.
Not technically. What he said to close off this segment of SmackDown was, "My name is Paul Heyman and I serve you as the special counsel for the tribal chief, your reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns." Now he said this really slowly. He said this really not like a whisper, but obviously he's not having to talk over a live audience.
Yeah.
So he didn't shout it like he did with Brock Lesnar. He just spoke, and it was, because he'd done it quite slowly, it was like, wow, bit of an impact. I thought it was really good. So we then are advised that later in the night we're going to have a fatal 4-way match: Matt Riddle, King Corbin, Sheamus and Big E, which I was really excited for.
Yep.
Then we get a little backstage segment. I don't have an image in this. We get a little sorry about that. We get a little backstage segment where Big E and the Lucha House Party are preparing for Xavier Woods' return to WWE. There's a cake. Everyone's excited. Lucha House Party are really excited of Xavier's arrival. A security guard then walks around the corner to Big E and says, Mr. E, I have to take you through to the car park to meet Woods. And Big E's like, oh man, yes, you know, like one of my two best friends in the world, and not very big evil, but it was quite sort of childlike. It was quite nudie-ish. So
yeah,
so he was like, oh, I'm so happy, and he picked up the cake that was like, welcome back Xavier and stuff. So he followed the security guard who took him to the car park. The security guard then just disappeared, and Big E was attacked by Sheamus.
Yep.
Really brutally, and he was thrown on top of a car, and he had to get stretchered away and stuff. And I just thought, oh, it was like, no, Big E, don't. And like, I genuinely, it's been a while since WWE's had me upset at watching somebody be beaten up, so I was like, no, don't do this.
Why would
Big
E's probably gonna win that match?
He probably would have.
Yep. If it wasn't for Big Sheamus.
If it wasn't for Sheamus interrupting his career. So yeah, Sheamus attacked Big E backstage, and then we have something in the middle. What's the next image? Look.
Well, something that I talked about this morning.
Oh yeah, so we have this happen. Sorry. The build up to this, I think there was something else before this that it was just time filler for me, but we then have somebody back. I keep forgetting this woman's name. She's one of the backstage interviewers.
Is she the small one?
Yeah, she's the really short one.
Right. Okay.
I keep wanting to say Carly Caruso, but
I don't think it matters.
Yes. Backstage short interviewer goes backstage, and it's at the car park where they had the stretcher lying in the ground with all their equipment wrapped up, and it looked like a body for a second, and I was like, shit, Biggie's dead. like it was covered head to toe in this big red sheet, and I was like, oh god, Biggie's dead. They've actually like killed Big E, but no, it was just their equipment. So the paramedics and the medical staff were sort of like leaning on the car, just sort of chatting away to each other, and this interviewer girl was talking. She's like, oh, I mean, tragically this happened. I've recently got word that Big E is won't be able to compete in tonight's match, and then Sheamus shows up like, oh, what a shame. And it's like, don't be a dick. Don't rub salt in the wound as if you don't know what happened. You're the one that attacked him. He's is Big E not going to win the match?
Not as if someone threw him on a car or anything like that.
I know, actually. And I don't know if Sheamus is putting on right, but his Irish accent seems to be really quite strong.
Probably.
Like a lot stronger than what it used to be. But so yeah, Sheamus does this interview where he's like, "Oh well, as soon as he's not going to win the match, I'll just have to win it then, won't I?" And I was just kind of like, really good heel move for Sheamus. Like, it made me at home go, no, you're a bad man, Sheamus, for what you've done to Big E.
Congo also said, I actually think this is good for Big E, because if he had won and lost to Roman, it would have been a pushover, as would have been too early. Now he can come back more serious and destroy Sheamus. Yeah, but right, you know how I say, like, I'm not like talking about something in a story like a writing perspective. I'm talking about this in an emotional perspective, and I generally like Big E.
Yeah,
I'm upset.
I don't like seeing Big E get beaten.
I got mad at Roman from a writing perspective, and now I'm upset because of Big E
from a fan's perspective.
No,
don't do this. So yeah, we have that happen, and then we have Heavy Machinery versus John Morrison and The Miz. I nearly called him John Moxley. How interesting would that be? SmackDown would definitely pull in some money if John Moxley appeared. So, John Morrison, The Miz versus Heavy Machinery. I still don't know.
It's so confusing,
I
isn't it?
still don't know Otis's tag team partner's name.
It's
I want to say Tucker.
No. Oh, I knew it like 5 minutes ago. I was about to say K something.
Oh God, I don't know.
Cotis or something. I don't know.
Otis and Cotis. The Heavy Machinery.
Cax. Something more. But yeah.
Yeah. So
and John Morrison won the Money in the Bank. Mr. Money in the Bank.
Well, what we'll discuss now. We mentioned this earlier on about things happening and then WWE just making it official.
Yeah.
What happened?
Tucker.
His name's Tucker.
Congo just said it was Tucker. It's Tucker.
What did I say, Trevor?
Something. I don't know why I fucked
anyway,
maybe it's Tuck.
Cotis and Otis, that's what we'll call him, because I'll remember Cotis because it rhymes with Otis.
Yeah.
He's the only guy they've actually pushed. So, Heavy Machinery win the match, however, John Morrison steals the briefcase. Otis comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and his tag team partner, Cotis, or his real name Tucker, comes out wearing like a Money in the Bank lunchbox.
Right.
Like, it's a really smaller version, and at first I was like, did they give both, because of the tag team, did they give both of them Money in the Banks? And then Otis held his up, and his partner held his up, and I was like, oh no, it's like so much smaller.
Yeah.
So it's like a Money in the Bank lunchbox. I thought that was quite funny for like a comedy-ish tag team.
For a bit.
Heavy Machinery is a weird name for what they've turned into a comedy tag team though.
Oh yeah, but
it's like the Viking Raiders.
Nobody really cares about Cotis. So.
Yeah, nobody really cares about them. So
anyway.
they lose the match. Heavy Machinery win. However, John Morrison steals the bank briefcase and then runs away.
And then we don't know what's happened.
Yeah, like, that's not how it works.
It's like the Bailey referee thing.
It's like the Bailey referee thing. It's like
the Roman coming up at the end of the match. It's just poor writing that's going on.
Is this WWE trying to do the thing where Brody Lee stole the AEW title? Because if that's the case, they didn't acknowledge that Brody Lee was the champion. They had them have a title match. But this isn't a title, it's a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Brody Lee makes more sense because he has a Dark Order, he has a cult backing him. He can steal something and get away with it.
Steal something and keep it for as long as he wants to, because the Dark Order will back him up. But this is...
What the hell's the Miz and John Morrison gonna do?
And the Miz was getting shouted at off his wife when he was doing an episode of Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yeah, Vince could probably hire a hitman or something to get it back.
Yeah, so Congosaurus has jumped in to say that he was more upset about the Money in the Bank thing, and you know what, you're right, man, it was a total joke.
It was a total joke ever since Otis won it.
Yeah.
So
what are they going to do with him? We don't know. So next image, please. Sami Zayn appears. Yeah. I know Congosaurus mentioned last week that he's a big fan of Sami Zayn. I was a big fan of Sami Zayn. I was a big fan when he was feuding with Kevin Owens in both NXT and the main roster. I was a big fan when they teamed up as like frenemies kind of thing. Yeah. But no, I'm not really sure what they're doing with him now. I'm not really interested, but we'll cover it because it's on one of their main shows. Right, next on SmackDown, we're told that Big E's failed Biggie can't compete because of his injury after being battered by the Irish brawler.
So I really like the way Sheamus looks, by the way.
He looks really cool with a hat on, doesn't he? And the sort of taped
Yeah,
up fists.
tank top as well.
The tank top looks
It's
cool.
very interesting look. But aside from that, Jey Uso's
he's the only interesting looking person there, because Matt Riddle looks stoned. Also, he wrestles in bare feet.
Yeah.
King Corbin looks like he's wearing the worst Game of Thrones cosplay I've ever seen. Jey Uso
is Jey Uso.
Jey Uso's Jey Uso.
Anyway,
exactly.
so Jey Uso replaced Big E.
Yeah.
And won it. So even more evidence that Big E would have won that. Big evidence.
It's if Big E was still in the match, I do from a written from a writer's perspective, I agree with Congosaurus. I would have Sheamus win it.
I would have Sheamus win.
But I would have Big E not be pinned and put up one hell of a fight. I would have Big E lose the match because he was outside of the ring, being held back by King Corbin, and then Sheamus pins Matt Riddle.
Big E was getting ganged up on by Sheamus and Corbin.
Something like that. Yeah, I'd have Big E look good but lose a fatal 4-way, but not be involved in the loss. However, they just took him out of the match, put in Jey Uso, and for some reason
he won it.
Jey Uso won. Now there was a backstage thing way back at the beginning of the show after the Roman and Paul Heyman segment where Jey Uso's backstage and he's like, "Oh, how you doing, fam?" And Roman's just like, "Yep, doing good. Yep, can I help you?" And Jey Uso was like, "Oh, yeah, just wanted to say looking good, and been a while since we've seen you, missing you, man, and do you want to maybe meet up or something?" And Roman was like, "Nah, dog, but I'll hit you up." And I was like, "Right, cool, man." And then he walked away, but Jey Uso had this really like a look in his face. It was like, "Oh, Roman doesn't want to hang out with me. That's weird. That's out of character." And it's like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. So yeah, Jey Uso wins. He's not going to win at Clash of Champions. Let's just get that out there. It's a waste unless something surprising happens that's not, unless there's a big surprise. He's not going to win it. It's a very it's not even a very predictable main event. It is the most predictable main event that I can think of just now. There ain't no way he's losing that belt. There ain't no way that Roman is going to job out to him or something. Congosaurus, even if they had done the beat up segment but Big E still bravely came to the match and lost as injured,
that would have worked.
That would have worked, and Sheamus as the Fighting Irishman, former world champ, would have been a credible opponent. We'd still have expected Roman to win, but it would have been a do you know what would have been more credible? It would have been a better match than what these guys are going to put on.
Like, I know we talk about giving people a chance, I know that, but the thing is that we're talking about giving people a chance to people who barely get chances. Jay's had a lot of chances with his tag team and all that as well.
They had a whole character change and everything, and it still didn't really work.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, that was SmackDown. We're just going to close the show with a couple of pictures. There's a poster for All Out, which we were going to review, however, due to time constraints and the fact that we've not seen it, we were not going to review it just now. We'll review that next week, if everybody wants us to. Other wrestling news: Vince McMahon is stopping his employees from doing third-party work on Twitch, YouTube, Cameo, TikTok and stuff like that.
So R-Truth won't be able to do his funny TikTok stuff or Twitter stuff. His game show might stay up.
It might stay up because it's on the network, but because it's on YouTube as well and Twitch, I believe. I don't know.
It'll probably just not be on YouTube. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, they released a statement saying that their employees are being paid to be on their show. They would rather have a company partnership with TikTok, with Twitch, with YouTube and stuff like that, rather than have their wrestlers have independent partnerships. I don't know, man. You're being really strict here, Vince. You're really taking away.
People don't want to go to a company that restricts their lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt Xavier Woods does it for money. I doubt AJ Styles does it for money. Cameo, you need to kind of say Cameo is all about the money. Because if it wasn't all about the money, you wouldn't have Alexa Bliss charging $300 for a cameo message. Big E, as much as we love him, is charging $150.
Well, that's because like he's a big name and a lot of people gain exposure from him. So
Yes, they do. But again, Cameo kind of is about the money. TikTok isn't though. I don't think you get paid to be a TikTok influencer or whatever it is.
I think you can,
Can,
like
maybe.
very specific.
What else did we have to talk about in news? Brock Lesnar. You want to talk about Brock Lesnar?
Brief 3-minute discussion. Brock Lesnar's using AEW to fish out more money from WWE.
Yep.
If
However,
he doesn't get what he wants.
if he doesn't get what he wants, yep.
he
However,
just goes to
WWE have retaliated by taking off all of his merch and even his profile from the website. So I don't really know if he's going to get what he wants. I don't know what he wants. So he wants more money, but does he want more money to show up to less matches? He was only contracted for 6 matches last year.
Yeah, I think he'll go to AEW.
I think he'll show up in AEW, he'll ask for a hell of a lot of money and they won't give it to him. I don't think they're the kind of company that would just go, oh, we've got Brock Lesnar, oh, money.
No, I mean, like, you'll either go to AEW or you won't go anywhere.
He might go back, he might go back to UFC or something if they'll take
Oh,
him.
yeah, UFC, he'll... I'm trying to think what he would do in UFC. He'll probably be a trainer. He'll probably train people.
Maybe he might try.
'Cause
He
he's
might
not-
try and have another match, but
He's not that social of a person, so he won't do any commentary or
No.
anything like that. Yeah, I think he'll be a coach, a trainer.
we'll see. But show of the week.
Well, Big E won.
That's true. Biggie won it. Are you going to give the show of the week to Payback, a pay-per-view? I suppose we discussed it. If you want to give it to Payback,
Well,
you
we
can.
haven't really.
I was going to give it to Dynamite. Dynamite was great.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dynamite, Big E.
But Biggie. Well, okay.
Dynamite is, to be fair, because
Dynamite is the winning show.
Payback's a pay-per-view.
Your current W Factor champion is MJF. As of last week, he is your first ever 2-time W Factor champion.
Ooh, because we had to set down some rules.
They had to set down some rules because William went Maverick. But you are so hyped up on Big E just now. Do you want to give Big E the title?
I think he has a good start. He has a good footing, but he needs something else right now. And I don't want to give it to him.
Do you
As of the
think
moment.
Big E was better than MJF this week?
MJF does MJF, and it's really hard to top that. I as much as I like Big E, I'm just hyped. I'm not like thinking he's amazing. I'm hyped for it.
You're hyped for amazement to come.
Yeah.
Just
so,
not this week.
yeah, not this week, of course not. I would give it to MJF.
I would keep it on MJF, yeah.
Especially after the documentary I talked about, which was a bit surreal at
I'm
points.
excited to watch that. I'll watch that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will watch that tomorrow. So, that is the close of our show. I'll do a quick pop for the socials. Anyone who isn't already sort of following us on the social medias.
We didn't hate that he turned heel. We hate the writing of the heel.
What did I miss? Is this Congosaurus?
He's saying that Roman should be the champ, but
No,
because he turned heel. I like that he turned heel. I just don't like how he won the Universal Championship.
I'm
Because
not.
that is, come on, as a wrestling fan yourself, you know it's built on rules.
Yeah.
If it didn't have rules, then it wouldn't be authentic. That's why Raw Underground isn't authentic. There's no rules to it. It's just fight. Just take the rules into the wrestling into consideration, and you'll realise why Roman winning that makes no sense.
I'm not going to say that Roman is in the runnings for the W Factor champ. Oh, he's already holding a belt. All right, let's not give him a big head and give him these 2 belts. I'm going to say that I will wait to pass judgment on his heel nature. I just don't see it yet. I don't know what kind of a heel they're going for. So anyway, You can find us on Facebook, the W Factor, Twitter at the W _ Factor. We're now on Instagram as of last week. I'm trying to be as active as I can on there, but I'm having a bit of trouble posting things to Instagram. They're not letting me. They're not letting me post things because it's not linked to my Facebook. But I can't link it to my Facebook because of. Oh, I'll fix it. Don't worry, guys. Obviously, we're on Twitch as you're watching just now. We're also on YouTube for anyone that's watching in the future on our YouTube channel. Remember to like us, follow us, and share and share and share again. Being the sort of social media manager for the podcast, I put out an advert of the W Factor, and this will be the first time you're hearing it. In this advert, we reached almost 4,500 people.
Ooh.
Not just reached, people interacted.
Ooh.
They clicked on the page, they had a look through and stuff like that, and it was I don't even know if I showed you the meme that I connected it with. It's the Terminator 2 meme, where it's like your foster parents are dead.
Oh, right.
So it starts off with John Connor in the Terminator, and he says to him, are your foster parents intellectual wrestling fans? And then John Connor replies, yes. So then the Terminator puts on John Connor's voice and asks the foster parent over the phone, what's your favourite episode of the W Factor? The foster parent responds with, the what? And then Arnie hangs up the phone and says, your foster parents are dead. So we got 4,500 people to look at that image, click on it, and then follow the link to the
I
Facebook
was
page.
gonna upload 3 episodes of this tomorrow.
Cool. I think YouTube were a wee bit behind in YouTube, but we had a really weird issue. Because the account wasn't air quotes verified.
Yeah.
The episodes were too long.
Yeah, something like that, but it should be good now.
But it didn't notify me of this. I had to go deep into our channel to find out that the videos were not being uploaded for a specific reason. I thought it was just issues.
I uploaded them though, and
they're up. I think
so
we've got
I'm gonna get
first 4 episodes or something up
so
there.
I downloaded the last 2.
Mhm.
This one's gonna be probably downloaded tomorrow, and then at night I'll process them and put them on the channel.
So
but, yeah.
Yeah, our YouTube channel is basically for people that aren't comfortable using Twitch. We understand it's not for everyone, it's new to a lot of people, but Twitch will be our main platform just now. All the episodes are on Twitch. You'll find episode 1, the Extreme Rules Horror Show, all the way through to episode 8.
No, you won't be able to find them all on Twitch because after like a couple of weeks they disappear.
Did they come off Twitch?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but you still get them for an X amount of days. So you'll have this one for like 7 to 14 days. However, if you want all of them or the earlier ones, they will be on YouTube.
Yeah. Cool. So there we go. Congosaurus is going to end the show with a nice wee comment. Good show, guys. Agree. Writing is poor. Keep enjoying the wrestling, and so much to say about All Out. Just disagree about heel. As I think they should always be total cheats and cheap ass.
This guy, man.
I think we've got a wee feud building up.
Right.
Right, there we go, guys. Thank you for tuning in.